Hey guys and fellow whiskey lovers. I am on the road again and quite far up north, and I am hosted by
Aurora Spirit Distillery in Arctic Norway. And my name is Ingjerd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you Ingjerd, so much for having me here. It's been an amazing time so far. And I really don't know where to start. My head is still spinning from not just warehouse tastings, but also the surroundings. Maybe we'll start with that, because I think that's one of the most obvious things about your whiskey and your distillery.
So I would say we have a bit of a special location.
Yes.
We are the world's northernmost distillery, located in Arctic Norway.
So maybe you can see a little bit
See a little bit of the mountains in the background here. 2 hours northeast of Tromsø, which is where most people sort of would fly into to visit us. And we are in a subpolar region, well into the Arctic.
Wow.
And then that definitely affects how we make our whiskey. It's an interesting place to make whiskey for sure.
First of all, spoiler alert, if you ever get the chance to come over here, definitely do it. Check it out. This is an amazing place to be, and the views are just stunning. But outside of the sort of like the touristy part, what I also would enjoy coming here, what do you think makes your whiskey special in terms of maybe like the world whiskey category?
I think it's two parts that are very interesting about what we're doing, right? And one of them is that we have become quite known for experimenting. We work with various types of malted barley. We work with different types of yeast. I think what did we summarize earlier? Like this year we will malt with 8 different types of barley varieties. We are working with 5 different types of yeast. And a number of different casks that you've gotten to see, that we have a huge selection of casks in our warehouse. We don't have the biggest warehouse, but we got a great selection in it. And it's become a bit of our thing to play around. We're not afraid of testing different flavors, testing different profiles, see what works and what doesn't. Quite most of it inspired from our first limited series of whiskeys called the 9 Worlds of Norse Mythology, where we, based on necessity but also based on fun, we tried out a lot of different types of casks to see, we're a new distillery, let's see how our whiskey match with the different types of casks. And out of that, our fans and our followers came to sort of expect new and interesting flavors from us. And we also found that it's really, really fun to work with all of these different varieties. Now, I fully understand it's not for every distillery. It's quite demanding to do this. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of management. But for us, we've kind of worked in the routine, and we have a team that, we find it, like personally, we find it quite exciting to do all of this and play around with different flavors. And then the second part, which some might find even more interesting, is that we're also in collaboration with local farmers. We're growing the world's northernmost barley. And for a place that has 8 months of winter, it is quite the challenge to make any kind of grain variety grow up here at all. So it's not so much about, like how much can you get? It's like, can we get anything? That was like the first question. And we have amazing farmers that we're collaborating with that are super, super passionate about the project. And it's not easy. And a lot of times the harvest needs to start early because the snow is coming. And we're talking like middle of September. Sometimes it's not, you don't have the luxury to wait until it's like fully grown, but it's like snow is coming. We just got to take it right now. And also snow can be on the ground until like late May. So it's a super, super short season of growing. But on the flip side of that, we do have the midnight sun. So during the summers, 24 hours of sunshine. And so there's a quite intense growth period. But what we see is that there's only really the heritage varieties that will survive up here. And the yield is not quite as high as the more modern types of barley. But there's different flavors and really, really cool project.
When I did interviews in Denmark, I loved to ask people the question, what is your biggest challenge right now? And from what you just told me, I feel like there's probably a list. It's not just one. It's not just one thing that's your biggest challenge, right? It sounds like maybe in your top 3, what would you say are the biggest challenges for you right at this moment with your distillery?
I think one of our biggest challenges will be a challenge every new and young distillery faces. It's just like financials, you know, being like a small independent distillery. It's just like financing whiskey production is incredibly demanding and tough. And, you know, it's easy to make fun of whiskey distilleries that make gin, but like, hey, it's really, really expensive to make whiskey. And especially if you want to make good whiskey and work with like higher grades of grains and really cool casks, it costs money, and you gotta get the money somewhere, right?
Totally.
But I say for us as well, it's the climate is definitely a challenge for us. We have still yet to like properly see long term how the cold temperatures affect our maturation, and we do see that there is, you know, like it's a difference between if you're maturing in Central Europe, where the average temperature is quite high, or if you mature in the Arctic, it's a bit slower. Yeah.
Coming back to the thought that I just had, would you say, because I feel from what you just said that you are almost in the same ball game as Indian and Taiwanese distilleries, just on the other end of the spectrum. You're as exotic in terms of the maturation part, but in a completely different way. Is that? Would you say that that's correct?
So yeah. I mean, it's sometimes we forget it up here because we're so used to it. But we have some years snow on the ground for 8 months of the year. Like we have 8 months of winter. The majority of the year
absolutely.
is winter, right?
That's crazy.
And so the climate is like a huge impact on this, of course. I would say also another challenge that we face, and along with all the other Norwegian distilleries, is that alcohol. Norway is quite a strict alcohol policy in general. Like, we are not allowed to sell bottles from the distillery, which is a huge deal for most of us. And I know it's a big income for distilleries, like, you know, Danish distilleries, Scottish distilleries. As a young distillery, you can sell bottles from the distillery, and we can't do that. And so for just to reach the customer, and for the customer to be able to get a hold of our bottles is not so easy all the time. And working with the big monopolies in the Nordic countries can be challenging sometimes. I mean, it comes with like pros and cons, but I would say like strict alcohol sales policies are not making it easier as a young distillery.
Of course. Yeah. If you would be sitting in the position to accompany another distillery with your distillery, and you can pick maybe the first question, if that would be a Scottish distillery. Do you have a favorite one where would you say that would be really cool if we would own that distillery and it would be the brother or sister distillery of Aurora?
Oh man, that's a tricky question, right? There's so many really cool distilleries. I've been to ÄSIR, and I have a lot of respect for what they're doing. I think there's quite a lot of similarities. It's big focus on like local community, and you are doing whiskey in a place where infrastructure is a little bit tricky.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I've become a big fan of ÄSIR and the team behind it.
It also sounds like a really fitting match, because I haven't actually been to ÄSIR. It's one of the few that I haven't visited yet, but it's probably as hard to get there within the Scottish infrastructure. If you look at the Scottish infrastructure.
From a Norwegian perspective, it wasn't that hard. It was like a ferry and something.
Exactly. For you, it's like, we do that all the time.
It's like when you're used to like getting around Northern Norway, it's distances and ferries and tunnels, and you're quite numb to all of those.
I can understand that. And if you would pick a world whiskey?
I gotta admit, I haven't visited as many of the world whiskey distilleries, but I have become also big fans of Danish tea. I think they do really cool things. Great people behind it. Good philosophy, and I have a lot of respect for how they work with the grains and the barley, and their passion for for the earth and the soil, you know. Right. But I think in all the Nordics, like there's a lot of really, really fun things going on. I think there's great range within the Nordic countries. Loke in Iceland, they're doing really, really cool things. You have the Finnish, which are focusing on both rye, but also like their local barley, and have been some of the oldest in the game as well, in the Nordics. And so I think across like the whole Nordic region, there's really, really fun things happening. But I think there's also like what you asked, like a New World Whisky Distillery. I think it could be like a really fun pair up potential collaboration to do something with either like New Zealand or like Chile, Argentina, like that whole north-south kind of thing. It's like the northernmost, southernmost.
Awesome.
Could be a fun angle to do that with.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, there's such a big variety of whiskey nowadays. That's exactly the reason why I love to travel so much and share that stories, because it's just, it never gets boring. I mean, it's like whenever, I told you this on the tour, but whenever I get the feeling of, now I know something about whiskey. About whiskey. Whenever I get the feeling, now I know something about whiskey, I visit another distillery, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's always more to learn. You're sort of you're always switching up, you know, your impression. For example, like the distillation process. I used to be like this pot still is the only way of distilling whiskey. And now I have visited a couple of distilleries that use different type of distillations that make really, really good whiskey. Yeah. And you are one of them. I mean, we can also sort of like talk about your still, because you have a hybrid setup.
I do have a hybrid setup, yeah.
So if somebody hasn't tasted any of your whiskey yet, what could they expect if they pick up a bottle?
What we do hear from people is that there is sort of like a sweetness to many of our whiskies. There is kind of like a honey character.
Yeah.
There is, even for the whiskies, and this might sound contradictory, but even for the whiskies that have a little bit of like a bite to them, there is also a roundness in some ways. But this is also part of our challenge now, is because we're working with such a variety of ingredients.
Yes.
And so I think for us to really see the house character, we're starting to see like the contours of a house character. We hear people talk about that at festivals. But in the 10-year, 15-year, 20-year perspective, we do not quite know what that is. Yeah. But it's like a sweetness, like a honey-ish character. That is what we get told the most, as people find recognizable in like the red string through all of our whiskies.
We had a session today in the warehouse, full transparency. We've been browsing through this treasury, basically, of
catalog of
crazy casks. And I find this really fascinating, because I feel like you said, it's a whole catalog from all the different flavor areas you can get. And as an outside guest or nerd, I would totally agree that it's really hard to say, look, this is typical Bivrost whiskey. I would also say, like, it's awesome that you can try so much and you can taste so much different flavors and so many different approaches. And I've had a lot of umami kind of flavors in there sometimes. You know, that's also pretty cool, because it's like quite savory. There was a lot of whiskey that was really savory, and like, I can only agree. Crazy big variety of flavor. Depending on when this video will come out, there will be a certain set of whiskies available in the world. And that might change, because as I heard, you have also, most of your whiskies are limited. So they will run out at a certain point in the future. So what would you say is basically the whiskies that are at the moment available? And we can talk about that in another video maybe,
sure.
About future things. But I'm also like, let's look at the present and maybe look a little bit into the future.
Yeah. So we have currently available in all markets is Bivrost Yggdrasil, which is the first in the core range.
Yeah.
It's a sherry STR peat combo that is at 46%. Is really it really is like a whiskey for everyone.
Yeah.
That's sort of the approach to it.
It's very sippy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you just want to try something and get a feeling of like what is this distillery about, or like we see a lot of people, a lot of whiskey people, like they would bring it like outside if they're traveling out of Norway, and they bring it as a presentation of like this is Norwegian whiskey. But then we also, like we previously talked about, we love to play with flavors, be it malt varieties or casks, and so we have bigger and smaller limited series we're running at the same time, parallel to this. And the core range will expand. There will be more, but it takes a while when you're making whiskey.
Yeah. So there's a core range that's currently basically Yggdrasil in a yearly release. That's one part of the core range.
Yes.
And you have different series outside of that,
yes,
correct?
So we have, currently we're running the ÆSIR, which is inspired by the gods of Asgard.
Yes.
And it's a bigger limited series. We're talking volumes between 8,000 to 10,000 bottles, which is, for a small distillery, quite a large limited, where we, again, like experiment with flavors. And for those who are familiar with Bivrost and our whiskey history, it will be similar to the 9 Worlds in that each release will be distinctly different from the previous one. Yeah. And the one thing they will have in common is that it will be tasty whiskey. Yeah. Right. And this series, we're also like collaborating with tattoo artists to make the artwork for the box.
Yeah,
so
cool.
it's sort of like a cool project. And then we have the little joker on the side, the secret, not so secret Loke series, which also comes out on a yearly basis, where we tap into, it's a smaller series, up to 2,000 bottles. We tap into the older stock in the warehouse, and the really like funky, interesting casks. And it's a little bit, a little bit more of our premium stock that goes into the blend of this skin, especially I like the older stock, because we don't have a lot of old stock, so we can't do a big release. Anyways.
Okay, so just for me to understand, there's the core range, there's Yggdrasil, and that will be accompanied by other bottlings that you've hinted at, sort of. Can you say something about that, or is that completely classified information for now?
Well, what I can say is that we are working on a peated core range for the future. But as most of your viewers probably know, it takes a hot minute to make whiskey. So I am hoping for next year, but probably 2028 is when we'll see the peated out there. But in the meantime, there might be something else interesting. I don't want to reveal too much, but I think quite a few of our followers that's been with us for a while will be very, very happy about what's coming next.
Sounds good.
And in between, there will be little specialty projects, and we've been talking about maybe a little something for the German market.
Yes.
Who knows?
Who knows? Let's see. Yeah, Ingjerd, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you,
and for sharing your time with me and with everybody else. And I really appreciate everybody who's taken the time to nerd out and share their story and
it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the reason why I really like to travel as much as I do. And I can only recommend anybody who has the time and obviously the possibilities to do that, to visit whiskey places, because it makes such a big difference and such a big understanding of the whiskey itself. If you meet the people, see the place, and visit the places where it's made, and some of them are, like yours, very far out, but even more so worth it to visit. But yeah, that's what I really like about whiskey. It's just a representation of its region, its culture, the people that make it. So it's crazy. But yeah, as you said yesterday, it's a crazy bunch. It's a bit of a circus.
It is
of you guys making the whiskey here, and it represents the whiskey. I mean, it's really crazy fun and crazy diverse and intensely flavorful whiskey for my personal view. And I can only recommend anybody in the world that is into whiskey to at least try some. And obviously everything is personal taste if you like it or not, but it's just, I think it's really, really a very exciting project that you're having here.
And I think especially for those who are a little bit like curious about New World whiskey, curious about what whiskey can be.
Yeah.
Especially our limited series will be very, very interesting.
Yeah.
For these people.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Ingjerd, for having me here.
Thank you for coming all the way to the Arctic.
Yeah, great. I mean, amazing place, amazing whiskey, and I'll see you guys down the road. Cheers, and more videos to follow, obviously.